Are we ready for music?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, this is great. I again, thank you guys all so much.
A little bit different today because we are live from Vegas. At least,
ladies and gentlemen, if I may be so bold to step on Jeff's toes, welcome to Everyone Racers live from the Mirage Hotel in beautiful downtown Las Vegas. Why, this is a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture, and it doesn't matter what kind of Lemma Champ or Lucky Track Dog you run. SEC or NASA, because, folks, we don't discriminate. It's all groovy, brother. As long as you drive it hard and built it yourself, and you can join us here each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, news and notes, and anything else in the world of low-dollar endurance racing. And whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or but terrible, or we're lucky enough, and Chrissy gives us just a tip, we're absolutely certain you're going to giggle just a little, and, well, you'll learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
Don't forget to tip your bartenders and waitresses, folks. This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
And I'm Jeff, hoping that the jazzy jury doesn't sue us for copyright infringement.
And I'm Mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. Thank you for coming back and listening to another Flux Capacitor episode of our podcast. Episode 88. Still crazy that it is episode 88. Thanks for coming back to listen. Make sure you get your bingo card. It has not been updated since last week, but my card today has all kinds of new options on it, which I'm excited about. So let's get started. Chris, what you working on? Like I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this weekend was recommissioning time for our Boston Whaler up on Cape Cod. So touch up a bottom paint, which I'm so happy I don't have to do a full paint job every year. We switched to ablative paint that gradually wears away, but it still remains effective afterwards. So I'd recommend that if you have a boat, go to ablative paint, not hard paint.
And this is because Chrissy mentioned it's ridiculous the show's still going. You talked about this last year when you did this. You guys were swapping up because you'd had to scrape the entire bottom of that boat.
Oh, yeah. A couple of years ago, we put the engine hoist at the transom, lifted that up, and then tied it to the deck, and then pulled the trailer out from under it gradually, put a big jack stand under the bow, and got under there with some paint stripper and tarps and putty knives, and yeah.
Saran wrap. We put the stripper stuff on it and then put saran wrap on it, and it came off really well.
It does, because that keeps it wet longer so the stripper has more time to activate. So strippers and saran wrap, tip for Vegas.
Good deal.
Wet strippers are always better than dry strippers.
True.
Absolutely. True. So, and then had to do a surprise fuel pump change in Suburban. That was a great fun surprise.
How do you spell that? POMP, right?
Yeah.
Needs fuel pump.
Totally.
Needs full pump. Fortunately,
I'd like to point out, not the Suburban I sold you.
No, my Suburban.
No, ours.
So pulling into the dirt road in front of our house, about 50 feet from the house, the truck went done. And that was it. And so it wouldn't start again no matter what we did. I get it to barely idle, but it wouldn't move. So hooked the tow strap to Dad's Accord and pulled it back into the driveway because the Accord is a champ. And once it was back in the driveway, then diagnosed, and it just wouldn't run without ever doing. It would run like a little bit, and then it's kind of stall. So it was intermittent, like it was all over the place. So it didn't seem electrical, didn't seem like a position sensor. And these trucks are known that eventually the fuel pumps are gonna go. And if you have a pickup truck, it's great. You just detach and reset the bed, and you get all the access in the world. Suburban,
it's the same thing with the SUVs and the Avalanches. You just have to pop the cab off,
which is the whole
easy.
truck, right?
So easy.
The entire truck. Get up a couple feet, or you drop the tank, which is sure to encounter some rusty fasteners or something breaking that you then won't be able to replace.
Oh wait, you missed that we put some gas in it, so the tank was full.
We did put some gas to we wanted to make sure it wasn't the transfer.
So it had gas in it. You didn't say it ain't got no gas in it.
We wanted to make sure it wasn't the transfer pump between the two tanks, because if the transfer pump out of the back tank wasn't working, the front one would go dry. Anyway, so we made sure. So that tank was good and full.
Our more hardcore fans remember all of these lessons from Jeff's Avalanche.
That's right. And I know because I know what I had to do for the avalanche. How did you get around not dropping the cab?
I cut a hole in the floor.
Wait, you took the seat off,
Yep.
and the carpet and
Yep.
the panels, and then
Yep.
cut a hole in the floor.
Yep.
And so I have. Let me interject this because all week before we say, okay, we have some tools up there, but what else could we need? Let's think. What kind of tools, in case something happens, what will we need? So we say, well, and Chris is actually walking out of the garage and saying, let's bring the saws up. Just because. But
Yep.
That's Chris's go-to. And Chris is the most precise mechanic of all of us. And he goes, you know what you always need? A Sawzall.
I'm going to put in a vote for the 4.5-inch grinder because
ding, 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 ding.
it can do stuff that a Sawzall won't. But the Sawzall can't do stuff that the 4.5-inch grinder will.
Well, in this case, cutting through the floor of a truck right above the gas tank and lines, I was kind of happier to try to use the Sawzall just so there weren't all those hot sparky bits pointing at the fuel lines and stuff. So,
Sure.
yeah. Anyway, it worked. Made a flap. Opened the flap. Boom. There's the pump. Get the little special tool. Get the lines off. Unfortunately, one place in town had the pump. Everywhere else said Wednesday. This is Saturday, so we would be broadcasting from the side of I-95 right now if we hadn't been able to get that pump from the AutoZone in Falmouth. So that all worked out, and got home and put some. Put a piece of metal underneath the flap with some good sheet metal screws in it to hold it, and then put some, of course, exterior caulking silicone in the gap left by the Sawzall, and then some duct tape over that, and the carpet back over that. It's like new, runs great, perfect repair. Love it. I'm working on Snowflake a lot. Put the AC belt and tensioner in. So, hey, the rear AC works. The front still doesn't, but the blend door does work. I've confirmed. I replaced that actuator. If I turn it all the way to heat, it gets really hot. If I turn it to cold, it gets warm. It's just something is not making the condenser or the evaporator in the dash cold. However that works.
Okay, so I'm feeling a little bit better about that janky ass piece of crap then, because the door made me feel like a clown because I could have just swapped it out with a motor and I was convinced it was a switch. But knowing that the rear AC just stopped working because of the belt, and there's actually some investigative work that goes to making the front work, I feel like I didn't completely rip off everybody.
No, that's fine. So got the back done. Anyway, put some new rear brake pads on because those were basically trashed. Got the parking brake adjusted.
I played Jeff's trailer.
Yep, parking brake adjusted on both sides because those shoes in the drum in the disc had never ever been adjusted, so those are set now. New spark plugs in. That was great. I'm trying to get a dry day to do the rest of the fluids, do the transfer case and the front diff, and I am punting and sending it out for idler and pitman arms and alignment because I am out of time and I don't like working on this thing anymore and I want it to get done. So a local shop's going to do that pain in the ass job for me. Checkbook is the right tool.
Taking up a spot in my driveway, which means
I
I have to find a new parking spot.
Yeah.
Well, and y'all had some hail out there in the greater Birdsboro, Reading, Pennsylvania area, didn't you?
Yeah, not here, but a lot of other places around here had some pretty vicious storms. There was a tornado not very far from here, actually. So,
you guys did all right?
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, we're fine.
Good.
I just want
wind, rain.
So tomorrow I'm probably dropping Snowflake off at this local mechanic shop. Give them a try. It's a father-son shop. Talking to them on the phone, they seem pretty nice. So I'm trying to find a new local place to do my inspections and alignments on the big cars and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes.
What happened to your inspection shop? Because you guys had like a really good inspection shop.
We did until they couldn't do anything right this last time around. Like literally could not do anything right. Could not mount
they
a
messed
tire
up the
correctly.
Three, like 4 times, right? Yeah.
Like couldn't mount a tire correctly. Couldn't get a basic alignment right twice. Like very, very simple things they couldn't do. And then the last straw was when they failed the Mercedes inspection because the horn was not loud enough. Yeah. No, it worked. It has 2 horns. They both worked. They just decided arbitrarily they were not loud enough.
So they fired the wrong guy at that shop.
So, whatever, yeah. So I'm done. 9 years of business with them, out the window. Sorry, folks. You screw every single thing up and then don't admit to it. Like if they just said, yeah, we just can't get this car to align right. Sorry. not going to charge you. We couldn't do
They
it.
never sat there and told us
Right.
until we drove it out of the place.
Right. Oh, yeah. They didn't tell us if anything is wrong, but 100 feet up the street, I know it's wrong. It's all that kind of stuff. Like, they just sent us away with a tire that wouldn't accept air. Like, they put a new tire on. The wheel had a crack in it. It would not accept air. It would never get pressure in it. They just sent it down the road. Like, no thing. Like,
How do you
But your
notice
horn's
that?
not loud enough. That's dangerous.
exactly.
Right?
So anyway,
Your
F that
stock
place.
Mercedes horn.
right.
It's
Try
not loud.
something new. I'm done. Cool.
Yeah.
Jeff, what are you working on?
You
Oh,
had
you forgot
something
this.
on there.
Yeah, you
that
forgot the
didn't
last
say.
line here.
Oh, yeah. Civic ECU shipped. It's supposed to be here tomorrow.
Woot woot. Because I'm going to open with other race car news.
Godzilla.
So I did 2 full days on the Z.
Yeah, you
And
did.
did-
For an elbow deep grease monkey. That was
Yeah,
impressive.
I was working till midnight on one of the nights. So
And pool open.
it's starting to look good. Does it run? Not at the moment. Did it run briefly? Yes. Did it knock? No.
Good.
So here's the deal. So I tore it down. I replaced 4 of the lifters. For those of you who have never seen a VQ30D, Chris?
VG30DE.
VG30DE, whatever.
You're close.
I was close.
Just listed a bunch of letters and numbers off. Probably just admitted that we had some kind of random Camaro or something.
Jihad
Right?
mounting
Yeah,
against
that's
it.
what it
Nissan
is.
Jihad can come after me all they want because I'm just going to say that intake manifold process is like 87 steps. And if you don't do them in the right order,
And that's
shit don't reach.
That's
It's
after
like,
we simplified it a lot,
yeah,
by the way.
Yeah. Anyway, took it all apart, got the lifters out, got the cam sprocket off the cam, and Chris had said to me, you know what? I really think it's not timed right. We really should retime it. And I said, you know what? I'm this deep. Let's just go for it. I took the entire front of the motor apart, and when I pulled the timing covers off the driver's side, now I hadn't done that because I was working on the passenger. Oh no, I'm sorry. When I pulled off the passenger side timing covers, it was filled with belt rubber, and it was clear that the belt was eating itself.
Self-clearancing.
Yeah, it was self-clearancing, which we had seen a little bit on the driver's side, but we didn't really care. Got it all the way down to the crank pulley, and there was like a cupped plate on the crank pulley that was between, the belt is between the crank and the pulley. The belt is in the middle, between where the greasy parts are and where the actual pulley is for the belts. And it was flipped over, so the cupping was facing the belt instead of facing the world, the radiator. So that was what was chewing the belt apart, and I felt good. I flipped it over. It took me 2 shots to get it to time right because it is a to do. Luckily, my brother was here. He was helpful.
That's
So, yeah.
definitely a more than one pair of hands kind of job.
You need like 6 or 7 hands at least, but luckily we had.
And there is room for almost a pair and a half of hands in that engine bay.
Actually, once you get all the radiator and stuff out, there's plenty of room. That's not the problem. The problem is that you need the belt that has the extender. You need like the fat guy belt, like they sell me at JCPenney. You need that for the timing gear. It's got like a little elastic thing in it, so it can be longer and then shorter. Like you can clip it anyway.
That's not a thing.
No, for timing belts, it's not.
It actually is totally a thing.
Well,
Yeah,
at Macy's it is, but it's not.
No.
Not on automotive belts, but it's a thing. It's a thing.
Okay.
So I hooked it all up. I finally got it all together. It took, another half a day to get the motor all back together. And I got it to start, and it's like ran on 3 cylinders with like my foot halfway to the floor, and it ran not terribly, but just like it wasn't getting fuel. It didn't seem to backfire or explode, so I don't think it's timing that's the problem. I just think we either aren't getting all the spark or aren't getting all the fuel. So I clearly have some wires in the wrong spot.
It's a new problem.
Like, I'm pretty sure I marked every single plug on both sides with what they are.
I know. I thought I had them all in the right spot, so I got to go through it again.
Get the big wiring harness out.
Yeah, get the big wiring thing out. But it's been raining like ever since I started. And I did have to take a day to keep the wife and family happy by opening the pool, power washing the deck.
She did make
Cleaning
an
the
Instagram
house.
post actually on that note, and she said, "My husband has done a great job, and he got the pool open." So,
and I had to cook for the Memorial Day barbecue, and I did all the meat. I'd like to mention, we had bird, we had cow, and we had pig. So that was it. It was a fun 3-day weekend. But I'm actually looking really forward. I think the Z will run. I think I got to find the 2 or 3 wires that are out of the way, and bam.
If it didn't clack, that means that problem is solved, and that's the most important part.
Yeah.
True, because it ran, it just clacked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we started this whole thing in, like, January.
It drove onto the trailer wonderfully.
Yeah.
Yes. But, and again, before we all start getting impatient and frustrated, we knew this. We bought it. We're like, we hope to get it out this year, and this year will be a development year, because that always what happens when you buy a new race car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why that motor's coming out. Don't care how well it runs this weekend. It's coming out.
I have faith.
I'm done with this crap.
I have faith.
Well, it's great because even if we have 3 race cars ready, then great. Then we have backup.
Chrissy.
Yes.
What you working on?
Well, while Chris was dealing with the sub, I was working on the boat. So normally on these work weekends, we have to start again. We have wash, power wash, buff, 2-stage buffing, and clean all the metals and then put all the stuff on it. And normally we share that. And get the engine running. Usually we share those duties, but since Chris had a new job of trying to access the fuel pump, I took on the boat. So I did the whole thing. There was minimal complaining and minimal sadness, I'd say. But it got done. It was a long day on Saturday. I got 21,000 steps on Saturday, which was pretty awesome. So then we got it done, put it in the water on Sunday. We actually sat for a little while right during the race. I kept trying to prop up my phone so we could watch the race or at least listen to it. And then we decided to go home on Monday early because we usually go home late, and we decided to go home early. And now I'm packing for a camping trip that I'm going with my Girl Scouts. We're going to the beach. Wildwood Beach on Friday.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the beach.
Yeah. Interesting.
I do love that. That is such a first world problem. Our giant SUV that we used to tow our boat to Cape Cod, it was minimal sadness weekend.
Yeah. Blew a fuel pump.
Yes, it could have been a lot worse.
It could have, and but yeah, just everyone else on the Cape would be like, oh, I called the auto club, and they came for my Land Rover.
The bigger problem was that it's a 3/4 ton truck. So what do you tow with that? Like if we were stuck on the side of the road, we need a certain kind of truck to get us out of that situation. So we also were really happy that it didn't happen on the first 7 hours of the trip or 6.5 hours of the trip on the side of 95 at midnight in the middle of Connecticut. We're just glad that it didn't happen
on the Tappan Zee Bridge, right?
Yeah,
on the
that would have been great.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, so we're
new
did your last breakdown in the Mercedes happen on some New Jersey bridge, and Jeff had to come rescue you?
It was right
before the bridge.
Right before the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, really, if we couldn't do this kind of stuff ourselves, we would have had to. This is Saturday afternoon of Memorial Day weekend. Nothing is open until Tuesday. So sure, you get it towed somewhere. Tuesday, maybe sometime the place can look at it. Then they got to get the part. Parts don't get them until at least Wednesday, and
and they have to do it. And if they're going to drop the tank,
so at this point,
they're not
we're
going to
spending
cut
a week at the Cape without anything. So
the lesson for all of our listeners is folks, pack the Sawzall. Always pack the Sawzall.
I think the grinder would have been a better idea.
Grinder.
Either one.
I'm going to go with Chris on this because sparks near fuel is usually bad.
Yes, but you can garden with a grinder. You can't grind with a Sawzall.
I gardened with the Sawzall, though. I cut a
course.
root off a tree. So,
Are you seriously eating?
yeah.
Mental, what are you not working on? Just tell us that.
And that's a lovely thing. So I have you guys seen my new shirt? I bought this.
I love that shirt. I was going
this-
to make fun of it, but I didn't know where to
should.
start.
Okay,
So I'm wearing
mental
a
Bahama.
Magnum PI-esque style beach shirt that we purchased yesterday. We obviously we're in Vegas, baby, Vegas. One of our and I'll talk about when I got to what I did this weekend, but one of our social media posts, Greg came up and said, "Oh, I'm stuck babysitting. My wife is going to be in Vegas this weekend." Greg Smith, one of our illustrious Three Pedal Mafia teammates, and we love Jerry. We fell in love with her at your wedding. So Vicky got a hold of Jerry, and we met her today at the pool here at the Mirage. It's 5:28 p.m. here at Las Vegas time. So we've been comfortably here sitting at the pool working on my tan and hanging out with Jerry. Greg's father-in-law, by the way, is awesome. His mother-in-law is awesome. His sister-in-law is a sweetheart. And Jerry's awesome because she puts up with Greg. We've also been house shopping. We've actually narrowed down to almost a 2 city block radius of where we want to live. And more importantly, we have figured out everywhere that we're going to take you guys when y'all come visit. We discovered a place yesterday, and I'm sure they hired the same marketing team that did Matt Conley Motorsports. It's a place called Tacos and Beer. And
Nice.
we went there for
Original.
Very descriptive.
original.
Right?
We went there for Taco Tuesday. They had 4 vegan options on the tacos. It was vegan and gluten. Oh, right. It's dope. So that's where we're going to go. And then I have found where I'm going to go visit tomorrow, the 2 pick and pull yards here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So Chris, I need to know, how do I identify a Mazda Speed 3?
Oh, I'll tell you how. You look under the hood. If it has a turbo, it's a Mazda Speed 3.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You know what?
Or the huge variety of Mazda Speed badges all over
There are
the damn
about
thing.
12 of them on each
Mhm.
one.
Well, and I figured whatever I'm going to find's been hit on one side or the other, and I was going for this Chris would know the memorization of the engine codes like he did literally just 2 segments ago, but Jeff just gave me the way more simpler mental solution. Open hood, C turbo, Mazda Speed 3. Got it.
Other things might be the giant front brakes that we already have.
But you can
What do
always
you-
use spares.
What
Yeah.
do you need from a Mazda Speed 3?
Everything.
For
Transmission,
what?
Why?
suspension, brakes,
For what? For what?
future
For-
plans.
Future plans. Stuff that we
Ah.
talked about in Atlanta over a beer.
Ah.
Involve other Mazda 3s and race cars and,
Ah.
stuff.
Some of those
Alright.
things you don't need.
The transmission with the limited slip would be nice. Anyway.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so that's what I've been working on, and then we did have the insurance adjuster come out and do the assessment for the damage on everything that happened to our RV on the way out here. So far, we'll see how the claim process actually goes. But I'm very happy with my lizard-oriented insurance company.
Very good.
Good.
None of us, or Chrissy is the only one that mentioned watching any racing this weekend.
Let's
go around the block.
to our social media.
Wait,
but
why can't we just
all I
do this
talk about.
later?
Well, because it's like
When we
kind
talk
of
about those races, in fact.
All right. Let's go to our news and notes.
Top tip reminder for those who are going to New Jersey Motorsports Park next weekend, even though we're actually over a week away, you need to know this because have you ordered your belts for New Jersey yet? If you haven't and you're going to Jersey and you're not totally sure, order yourself some new belts because the state police are jerks because it's New Jersey and New Jersey sucks.
Oh, that's got to be a note on your card. Don't forget
Check
about
off
that
New
one.
Jersey. sucks.
Exactly.
All right.
I knew that was going to be there. So here's the actual rule. If you basically get FIA belts is the answer because they're good until they expire. If you have SFI belts where they have a manufacture date, they are good for 2 years from the manufacture date. So get yourself some FIA belts. Buy a second set of FIA belts that you can sell for a profit to the poor fools who did not listen to us
yeah.
until so that's step 3, profit. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now we'll talk about racing. So Indy, I talked about it last week, and Mental will chime in after I tell you some other stuff. It was actually a pretty interesting race towards the end. Of course, I was sitting at a dock holding up my phone in the air and it kept clipping off. And it'd be like, this is amazing. And I was like, you're killing me.
I love how we all knew to be quiet for that moment. We're like,
I was sad. And then it would like speed up or it would just be like, wow, that was so, I was like, come on. Anyway. Okay, so we'll talk about the red flag and the racing at Indy, but and then they red flagged and everybody came in and that was the last 20 laps and then they had to get back out for racing, which is kind of crazy for, semi-endurance racing. So before we do all of that, I found an interesting note about women in Indy. So the people somebody posted a picture featuring women that were helping behind the scenes. And so there were 9 women in this picture, included 2 tire engineers, 3 racing engineers, 2 HPD engineers, 1 R&D engineer, and 1 mechanic/tire changer. So I was really happy to see that there were non-conventional women in some of these roles. Also, Danica was joining as the announcer, so that was awesome too. Just pointing out that there were some women helping with this Indy.
It was interesting. She was the only Indy veteran in the announcer's booth. They had Dale Jr., but even Dale Jr. would go like, well, I know what this looks like when I drive my car, but he'd turn to Danica and go, what do you think about? Yeah.
Multiple times. Yeah, it was good.
She was definitely good on the in the broadcast booth, and I thought the race was good. I had a good time.
Yes, so we can talk about people that won, or if we care. I care. Pippa came in 16th, and that was awesome. That's awesome. Shoot, most of the time I just kept looking and was like, she's still out there? Cool, still out there. That's all that mattered.
Yeah.
Didn't plan on her winning. It's cool.
All right, so since it's been brought up, go on, Mental.
Well, I was to say, so, and we'll talk. So I got there. Actually, I got to a sports booking place to watch the Monaco Grand Prix. We'll talk about that in a second. But I was watching the Indy 500, and so I grabbed the betting sheet because why not, right? Pippa paid off 2,000 to 1, and I thought, well, I've totally got to throw $5 on this because if she pulls this off, that's $15,000.
That's a good payout.
Exactly. And so genuinely, I'm paying attention to her, and she ran very well the whole race. She started towards the back of the pack. She was in the 30th. And, anyone else want to start up with, women in motorsports. She qualified better than Fernando Alonso. So suck it. Girl knows how to drive a car. And she very quick, she kept herself very competitive in the low 20s. And then after all of the restarts, she all of a sudden was, and they even mentioned it during the announcement, she was in a, I don't want to say threatening position, but she was in the hunt. So clearly, and that was chaos towards the end when they finally had the big yellow. Most of the chaos was happening in the pits during the Indy 500.
Yep.
It's weird. It's more dangerous to be it's more dangerous to be a tire changer than it is to be a driver at the Indy 500. That's a problem. Yeah. So
I was going to say,
16th, but she got up to 13th watching that race. So I was paying very close attention to Pippa Mann because that was a new car to me.
I actually thought the Indy 500, I watched all 3 races over the weekend. I had my iPad stuck on the cowl of the 300Z while I was wrenching. and the Indy 500 was the most exciting. I know it's roundy round, but it was I'm going to piss off half of the world when I say this, but Formula One does not excite me. I understand the cars are better. I understand the drivers are better. I love Monaco. I think it's one of the greatest races in the world. But you can't pass.
No, but this was in Monaco. You haven't been able to pass for 20 years because and the only reason they still race there is because it's Monaco. Anywhere else they wouldn't do it. So, but I was the nerd. We arrived at the Westgate Casino at 6:05 a.m. Las Vegas time, and I had the entirety of the sportsbook betting area to myself. And they do like horse races.
Couches are really nice in those places.
The
nice, armchairs,
big fat leather chairs. And so Vicky went off to go do her thing, and the guy said, "I'm sorry to tell you that the betting booths are closed until 8:00." But I got to watch on the big screen. And there was some genuine drama in the Monaco race with Lewis Hamilton because he was screaming into his radio, I cannot stay in front of them. And they're coming over with these lovely phone operator, like, Lewis, you're doing fine.
You're winning, Lewis. Shut up.
Yeah, exactly. And then he gets out of the car and he's like, well, there was no way I was going to pit. And I'm like, dude, I like everyone in the world didn't just hear your whiny ass radio call.
He sounded like me when the wire was on the hood. Chris, can I come in? Chris, can I come in? Chris, can I come in?
Come in.
Except he listened when they said don't pit.
He's like, I'm pitting.
Do not pit. Okay, I'm coming in.
That's the sole reason that he is the most successful race car driver in the world, and I am not.
Sure.
That's right. Sole reason.
That's the only reason.
Yeah.
But
Otherwise, he's going to have to take his tires into the stand and make them watch the race to see how good tires behave.
If the windows had open, I would have gone up and bet $20 that first and second were going to take each other out, that Hamilton tires were going to give way, and second place was so breathing down his neck, and that the third place Ferrari was going to win. But luckily, the betting windows weren't open, so I didn't waste $5 on that bet. I thought Monaco was a fascinating race to watch. I really enjoyed it.
And because I've only pissed off like half of the race fans in the world, I'm about to piss off the other half.
Awesome.
Coca-Cola 600, why is that even considered a race? It's not 600 miles. It's like 200 miles plus 200 miles plus 200 miles. They're throwing competition cautions.
It's crap.
NASCAR, wake up. That is terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, end of rant.
But if any of the
drop.
no names had won, I also would have walked away with $6,000. Because I'm looking at the odds and it said anyone out of the field that pays 2,000 to 1. It's NASCAR. I got to throw $5 on that because why not?
And that's
'Cause
why I
anything
then
can happen.
proceeded to send you the link to Gamblers Anonymous after you tell us
And
all
I
these
just-
things. Like, I just got to Vegas and I'm betting on all these people that are terrible.
And I just checked off someone loses money off my bingo card.
I have some quick questions for Mental. Mental, where are you sitting right now?
I'm in the Mirage Casino.
Now tell me, is it a lovely place?
It is lovely.
Is it gorgeous? Does it look like it cost millions and millions and billions to build?
Oh, absolutely.
Where did they get all that money?
Oh, when I lived here the
It's
first time
not
back in
From booking
2003,
the hotel
that was
rooms.
in 2003, that was the joke is, hey, Hoover Dam, it's not here for the winners, man.
No.
But honestly, so Vicky, I drug Vicky out of bed at 5:30 a.m. We went there and we sat down. I watched the Formula One race and had a great, had a cup of coffee. And then we went and did the buffet. And so for $15, I ate smoked salmon and shrimp. Yeah, hat tip to Donnie and Steph Schrader there. And then I went right back out and watched the Indy 500. I can't complain. And I knew every one of those $5 bets were a long shot, but for $5, I mean, I waste $5 in an airport on my way to New Jersey for a race. I mean,
For Wi-Fi.
I'm trying to decide if I can check off Mental tells a story that goes nowhere.
I was
think so,
about to
yes.
going to do
Okay.
that.
Officially, yes.
All right. Good.
All right. If we're good
Let's
with that.
let's
We
move
need
on from
We
race
need a new
results.
square.
Yeah.
We need a new race square. The race square is somebody annoys their wife.
no, that's like all of us.
Is that, or we could change that to the center.
Yeah. Anyway, this is not the Eric Rude and Steph Schrader podcast. What the hell was that thing called? The
DFL.
professional DFL.
It's
DFL.
no longer on. We're still
I know.
on. Not.
So let's move on to other stories.
Do it.
Okay, Tesla is like so out of money. They're not even buying toilet paper. They're cutting office supplies. It's crazy. Blah, 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 blah. Tesla story. Must report. Next.
Really?
Wow. Okay.
Come on.
Oh, we got a lot of stories.
Another,
I'm more interested in
no, this is good. Another Tesla story. In a contract violation, Tesla says the Hyperloop tunnel is now just a normal car tunnel because, quote, this is simple and works. So,
Shut up.
6 months ago, the demonstration of the track didn't quite match the vision of the maglev things going at 800 miles an hour. It was a Model X on a sled going down a bumpy tunnel at like 50. Didn't work so well.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, keep trying, Elon. Smoke
Yeah.
another bowl.
So here's a quick poll for all of you. If you are the first person to do something stupid, did you set a record for doing it fastest?
Yes.
If you
So-
got somebody,
I'm sure
if you got
Randall's
somebody to
saying yes.
document it, then yes.
Then yes. Okay. So then there's a story from the drive. Y'all know what a tuk-tuk is, right?
Yeah,
It's an
they're
Indian
awesome.
Three-wheeled little
taxi
Indian
scooter
motorcycle
thing, yeah.
taxi scooter thing.
It's a rickshaw with a moped.
Yeah. Somebody just set a 31-minute
terrifying.
Nuremberg lap record on a tuk-tuk.
Which, by the way, I would totally do.
The picture of the people when you open the article, it's hilarious.
That's kind
Oh,
of the noise they make at full throttle going along. It's tuck, 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 tuck.
Is it a tuk-tuk?
it was written by a friend and past guest Steph Schrader, and the quote is, "We are never, ever, ever want to do this again. It was horrible."
Good.
And they had two guys sitting in the back.
Yeah, they did.
Anyway,
they look terrified.
It's not a tuk-tuk without a passenger.
they now
Fortunately,
have
they
the
have.
tuk-tuk record. Whatever.
Fortunately, they have shit handles, and they're holding on with dear life.
Which, honestly, I'm not sure I want to hold on. I want to be thrown at that wreckage. I want to be ever as far away from. I want a helmet, and then I just want to be as thrown away from that.
Yeah, but if you're on the Nürburgring, you get thrown off. You might be far away from the entrance.
Yes,
of,
you
like you're
are.
not. It's not a 2-mile loop. You have
It's
to,
not like the tuk-tuk on its side is going to provide any crash protection when the Porsche hits you. So, yeah.
Well, there it is. Lucky Dogs running with the big dogs. Pacific Ridgeway in Kent, Washington this weekend. Given that the event is limited to 50 cars and 2 of their 6 events have sold out, you might want to jump on that. It will also be at Shasta Lake for Dog Stock, August 9th through 11th, Lakehead, California. It's a Lucky Dog family endurance racer gathering, camping, barbecuing, boating, RC car racing, horseshoe tournament, ping pong, and everyone's going to be talking about cars. Oh, yeah. Their events fill up, so register soon at racelucky.com.
Say hi to Kathy.
Totes.
Yep. They were also at Utah Motorsports Campus this past weekend. We don't have too many results, but we know that Saturday 6.5 was Son of Andre, followed by SMRT Racing, and last was
smart.
I am so smart.
Yep.
SMRT.
I mean, SMART.
And last was the Wu Chan clan. Sorry, didn't work out so well.
No.
Yeah,
So, Champ Car was at the Glen. We had some predictions. How did we do on that one?
mostly terribly.
Pretty much.
Some people that we thought would
Seriously.
do well, like Baltimoreans. Sorry, guys. 33rd in C. Matt Cullen in Motorsports, 6th in EC, which is like mid-pack, with 135 laps, which means he got beat by the PT Cruiser.
Ooh.
Salem, they're amazing.
They
won overall in EC, of course, but that's like, newsflash. Water is wet. The Biohazard MR2s, they were 11th and 42nd, so like, yeah.
Yeah, the Tuttle Motorsports in their non-DSM powered DSM was 29th. PT Cruiser won Class D with 142 laps.
And I want to interrupt you here for a second, Jeff, because we got called out on the Instagrams because we talk about that PT Cruiser. And Dr. Florida Man Donnie sent us a thing. He says, you guys talk about that PT Cruiser. Have you seen it?
No.
It's flat black. They El Caminoized it, and they put a wing on the back of it. This is actually a pretty rugged looking PT Cruiser.
Oh, well, I'll have to check that out.
So we like it better now. That's good.
Exactly. We
Just a
actually,
little.
so it's just proof that El Caminoizing anything makes it better.
It's a good idea.
I guess.
Dead Pedal in their Maserati bi-turbo was 4th and 5th in Class D.
4th of 5.
4th of 5. Oh, sorry.
Both. They're 4th and 5th. Like
4th out of 5.
It's a big car. It takes up a lot of space.
Okay, so my picks for the funny ones, which were all terrible. The Team Sticky Lifters is 37th, Tidy Whitey 36th, World Class Motorsports Livers 3rd or 5th, 3rd and 5th.
Of 5.
I
Of is
know.
like just-
Third
They're
of
only 5D cars.
So they
I
just
was
beat the
kidding.
Maserati. They
Yes.
beat the Maserati by turbo.
the
Well
Maserati.
done,
Yeah.
guys.
3rd out of 5 in D, and the huge ass last in A. Yes.
So I got a quick question for you here. Like, we've never been to a champ car, but it seems that there were like 30 something cars in Class C. There were like 12 in EC. There were like 40 or 50 in C actually, but then only 4 or 5 in D. Like, what's their classing structure here that they're having such, like, I'm going to put in a plug for AER because they at least split the pie sort of even.
Yeah. Well, it seems that D is the terrible things based on what we see there. And I would imagine that the Class C and A are the ones that have a lot of stuff because those are the good things. Like that's where the E36s go and the Miatas and all that stuff. And that's what everybody brings, and they're all pretty similar. So you got to put them in the same class because they're all pretty similar. Because it's boring, because it's BMW. Again.
Yeah. Got it.
Right?
All right. Lemons, Thunderhill.
So Lemons was at Thunderhill this past weekend, and we did all right. So overall went to shake and break again with 220 laps. Eyesore was 9 laps back behind those guys, and just unpredictably, Cerveza didn't even make the top 20. Now, Class B went to the Jeep Stang in 9th overall. B team was just plain and stupid, took the Class C, and 15th overall was the Class C, and 15th overall was the Chotis, the Chevy V8 plus a Lotus Elite, and they took Class C, which Otis. And honestly, great team, good car. Impressive, though, that they actually managed to get that thing to finish.
Yes, the world's most successful race engine builder, Chevrolet. The world's most successful chassis builder, Lotus. How long did that take? Years.
Seriously, that's not that I'm saying much because it's a Chotis, and I'm sure it's terrible.
It is.
But if you're going to put in a
bless
Chotis,
them for doing it. Yes.
Put an LS in it and run it.
And what was interesting, so
I know it's not an LS.
We had a lot of good picks for good.
No.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, they were awful.
I'll just say none of them were in the top 20th except for Hello Shitty that came in 6th.
Yep.
Sorry, guys. That's all.
No, and I had to. Oh no, the suits. I thought it was funny that we were the Superanos, not in the top 20. They were DFL. They no laps at all. None.
Yep.
Zero. Nothing.
Hey.
Well,
I just thought
pick as a pick for a good.
A tree fell in their garage. I'm prepared to give them one race on the way back.
Okay, so I pulled all these. I couldn't find most of these people at the teams at all that I reported on last week. For the funny ones, most of them must have been in B or C class. But so Jeff picked the Black Flags 83 Supra. They were 16th overall, so that was about the only one that actually did pretty well.
Nice.
Safety third came in 24th overall. I was happy to see that.
Wait, for an Elantra.
Yeah.
Proper.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah, because everybody else was, Cerveza came in 64th overall. Obviously, they had super problems. And the Crapcan mixed tape date club, whatever they are, the Beetle, they came in 17th overall, so they didn't do too badly either.
But
if they'd had the Corrado, exactly, they would have done so much better.
Right. No, probably not.
Probably not.
No.
Oi, we're going long. Let's keep moving. Lucky Dog at Pacific Ridgeways. We don't know what's running. That'll be great. Keep going.
Good luck, guys. But
wait, can I mention something else before you read the next thing? AER at VIR officially canceled. You heard it here last week. Not enough entries.
And hang on, AER Palmer seems to be on the verge too. From what
really?
Oh yeah, I was
God.
watching. I was basically watching the thread that has like 600 posts on it right now. That was basically people saying, "Why you not go to here? Why you not register for this?" And everybody came up with pretty good excuses. And then somebody started asking, "Why you keep asking why we are not coming to these things?" So it was an interesting, just train wreck.
I missed that. I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, it was good.
Well, because the VIR thing, it was a Friday. It wasn't a weekend.
Oh, they
race.
did it like a Thursday, Friday, or something.
Oh, was it?
It was kind of odd, but it was a weekday race, and that was
Palmer or VIR.
No, VIR.
Okay.
VIR was a weekday race, and so it was kind of on the bubble whether or not they would pull it off or not, and that's troubling because AR they do go full tilt. If you sign up for their races, you get like a T-shirt, you get stickers, and usually somebody steps up and feeds everybody Friday night, and then one of the breweries will bring beer and everything like that.
We've talked about it. If you're into that stuff, that is a great package.
It is, but
the electronics that they do, having
the web page, they do a great job. I'm genuinely troubled that suddenly AER is canceling races because I love running an AER event. Other participants notwithstanding, because some of them are world-class quality D-bags.
Of course, but that's true. Yeah.
Maybe
anyway,
that's why other people aren't going. Who knows?
Maybe. That did come up at least once.
All right. Somebody tell us about a fun place.
Speaking of non-douchebags, supercars, racetracks of glory. Woo-hoo! Folks, you know the drill. We talk about it every week. You've got a fleet of high-horsepower supercars, only reserved for pop stars and top overpaid athletes, tracks that you've only read about, dreamy, blue-eyed instructors like Chris, hilarious, smart ones like Jeff, or, well, me. Extreme Experience. They've got a bunch of locations.
Yay! What kind of bingo do you get?
They've got a bunch of locations all across the United States. Or you can always go to that full-time one down there in New Orleans. It is fantastic. There's some folks. Florida man Donnie actually got a hold of me last week and said he was on his way to Texas for one of the Lemons rallies. And he said, hey, you think you could do something for me? And I said, yeah, here's a great code that'll get you 25% off. But alas, he wasn't able to do it. The folks are coming up to Pittsburgh and Pocono the same weekend. They're going to be in Motor City next weekend. Head over to XX Speed, type in Everyone Racers, all one word, get 25% off, and you're going to have a great time. Extreme Experience, it's your turn.
Just so people can have their bingo card. Hi, Mom. Listen up! Feedback!
Hang on. I got bingo during the last one. I got to tell you what it is.
You let me do the read, so God bless you for that.
Yeah, we got Lucky Dog, Someone Has Crappy Internet, New Jersey Sucks, Extreme Experience, and Metal's Wife. So.
Okay.
I needed Giant Dave and someone to say Citroën. So.
We still can. Hold
on.
Hold on. Okay, so I posted my picture of the Canyon Arrow and what you working on. So DC Doug said he's taking race car parts to the Busticated race car at Thunder Hill. Giant Dave was doing right. I know. I needed that too. Giant Dave was doing rotors for his grandfather's CTS as well as garage cleanup, making an ad up for the trailer he has for sale. And in case you're interested, it's a 16-foot trailer. Get a hold of us. We'll put you in touch. And he was also playing vehicular trailer Tetris, which we play all the time, halfway to freeing the Coleman in time for NJMP. And Cameron L was
Dave's Coleman becomes like a compound because he puts like a tarp over it. It expands like 3 times its size.
It's kind of like I don't even know if he listens to the show. Like a homeless compound kind of thing.
It is like a homeless compound. The best part is it's like this big because he's like this big.
Yeah.
And I'm holding my fingers out about an inch and a half apart.
Okay. Anyway, Cameron L was slaving over his boring BMW lemon car. Still won't start after crank sensor, ECU, and fuel pump. That's so sad. They all need a replacement. And now the key is broke. Oh.
I saw that key.
The key, the infamous BMW key. We all hate that.
I posted up on the Instagram the picture of the Z lifters, and I said, "What you working on?" And Michael K said he's getting the famous 47 Plymouth ready for HPR. And don't tell the judges, but they have a super cheaty T5 in a 47 Plymouth. So Glenn Farney reached out and said, "You can put anything you want into it. It's a 47 Plymouth. No one is going to have a problem." And Glenn was also working on his S10 there. Repairing the crash damage from CMP. The Toyota Sadies in them got into some yellow truck on yellow truck action. So put that into your Pornhub search. Yellow truck on yellow truck action. See what comes up. They all crew at Daring Greatly Racing posted a picture of their caddy on a lift and said, "Oh, race car stuff." So I thought that was a good way.
Yes. Now, I was not working on anything race car oriented. And as I mentioned previously, I had planted myself in a Las Vegas bar at 6 a.m. to start watching racing. But
not because you're a raging alcoholic. Don't worry. It's okay.
I'm not a raging alcoholic, but I'm working on it. We'll see what happens by the end of my time here. Giant David actually put up some pointers for our cross country trip on Route 66 because he did the same trip in reverse last year. If you guys remember when he was hauling back his Chevelle.
Bought that truck.
Yeah, which he still has. So that was great. And then I end up in an extended discussion with both Greg and also Florida Man Donnie because we were just talking about some race car stuff. And genuinely, as we already talked about, it was an interesting series of races to watch. And I of the three, I'm going to go with Indy 500 was the best. I was really pulling for Taka towards the end because he was running in third. Just because I really wanted an old guy to win it, just to ruin everybody else's day.
Did we already cover the real racing? Let's move on.
We did.
It is time for the main topic, and we are basing topic time. Get out the horn.
And that's the happy trombone. You actually have a different one for a sad trombone. That's the happy trombone.
Yeah, it's a happy trombone. So we're coming up to New Jersey Motorsports Park, and I was recently on the Garage Heroes in Training podcast, and
I needed that. Yes,
they were asking me.
Oh, I got bingo! Yay!
They were asking me about the garages at NJMP on the other side of the track.
Oh, they're beautiful.
And I was like, there ain't no garages. Oh, really? No. This is the crappy side of the track. You got to
Nobody likes the
dirt.
Long.
So this basically brought up our topic. Not all the time do you have the ability to camp in lovely Shangri-La RVs. We all know the Wakeman RV is down fighting with the insurance company, so it won't be around. We're not going to have garages. We're not going to have
He is out west.
Yeah, we're not going to have the fantastic paddock that we usually have. So what do you do when you got to go small? What do you do when you're not balling like the Three Pedal Mafia and can bring 27 RVs and cook for 1,000 people? Maybe you're just doing a track day with your family, like you and a bud. You know, maybe it's not a full race. Maybe you're only going to be there 2 days. Maybe you're flying and driving. What do you do when you're trying to travel light? So that's the topic. Small paddock. Who wants to take something? Food. Let's start with food. What are you going to do when you got to not cook for 1,000? You can't bring out the entire kitchen. I don't know. Who wants to start it?
Well, when we don't have the traveling roadshow and circus that we typically have, Chrissy and I have been to some races kind of on our own, and Jeff, we've done a couple of random races that we had a small crew for and things. So we've gone light at times. For food, I think look for potlucks. Obviously, there's often one of those around. So contribute. Get something. Contribute. Not potato or macaroni salad. Get something else. Or talk to whoever's there and say, what does everyone else say they're going to bring? I want to bring something else.
Oh, bring kale salad.
Love
Everyone
kale salad.
like
That's what you should bring because everybody's going to bring the normal packaged crap, and you put the kale salad from Costco in a bowl, and it makes it look like you made something.
Yeah,
that's your answer.
A few bags because it goes fast. So hey, bring something to a potluck or barbecue if you can. If there's track has food that's any good, because some of them do. Some of them have food trucks that are good. Just do that. That's easy. Or find some friends with big setups that'll take pity and give them some beer. Right.
It's true.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Or find Soggy. You just follow him around eating meat.
Follow the Grum and see what he drops behind him.
Yep.
So I said, does it change the plan? Totally change it. At least changes my plan. I bring a lot less of everything. I usually condense into maybe one box instead of 3. I sometimes will even use non-paper and plastic plates and stuff because that's nice to save the earth, but there's no way that I can keep up or we can keep up even with the dishwashing fairy, which I also needed. He can only keep up with so many things, and when we cook for 28 we can't keep up with that. I say we eat better when we have less of us. We have done surf and turf because that's fun.
Yeah, we did a shrimp steak and key lime pie.
Yeah.
and frickin' Bruce is feeding the dog key lime pie off his fork and then eating it off his own fork.
And it was a random dog.
It wasn't his
It
dog.
wasn't his dog.
It wasn't.
No, Jeff, you have
Make
two
it
dogs.
good.
Don't act like you've never done that. Do
No.
not act like you have ever not
Dog licks
reinserted
a
that utensil back into your mouth.
No, dog licks a utensil, it goes in the sink and goes to the washing machine.
So gross. Anyway,
I don't believe you.
Okay, hold on. So you stop skipping over me. Also a bingo card. We sometimes will even not do crockpot meals because if the car's out and there's the person driving, we don't have to work on anything. Like if you don't have a whole lot of things that are going on, sometimes you can just get away with just cooking stuff. So
yeah, a lot of times you're traveling light because it's not your car and you're not expected to rent or prep. So
yep, that's what I got. Food.
Awesome. Food wise, so where are we going to sleep?
So, well, and I've been a little trained about this after, traveling around the world. When it comes to the rental car counter, don't be afraid to kind of try and game the system a little bit. I rent the cheapest car I can, and this upcoming race, I'm renting the cheapest car I can. Don't think for a second I'm not going to try and talk him into a minivan or whatever they've got laying around. And we talked about this last week when Vicki managed to upgrade from a Chevy Spark to a Suburban. And if I could pull something off like that, I will. But even if you're not upgrading, any sort of a hatchback rental car you can, it's not going to be the best night's sleep, but yeah, sleep in your car. It's the track. There's always showers there. There's always something like that. And you have something of a padded seat, and you can control the environment to a degree.
Well, it's a rental car. You can leave it idling all night, and nobody cares.
We might have done that.
Yeah. The other thing, Rent Through National joined their preferred thing, Emerald Club. You walk out, and they just have the rows of cars. You just pick whatever one you want. And there's always a minivan. There's always an SUV. There's always stuff like that in there.
People don't always want the big stuff.
Yeah.
True.
So that's an easy way to do it. And plus, it's super easy. And I have great experiences with them all around for airport rentals. Highly recommend.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we're up to you anyway.
All right. Well, if you're not sleeping in someone else's plush RV, which I'm so used to doing by now, I'm such a pain in the ass diva. Enclosed trailers are a nice second option. It's a big enclosed box. There you go. That's a good spot. It might be a little dirty though. Also might be full of carts and tools and other stuff. So you at least
Fuel smells.
you at least need a cot, right, to stay up off the ground. And I've done that in Kurt and Krager's trailer, and that's fine. I prefer sleeping in the Suburban or a truck if you can. Like the Suburban will fit a full-size air mattress in the back and still have room for stuff. I've got a little setup that puts screen over the window with magnets around it to hold it so you get some good fresh air. You can get these tents for the back of SUVs, so when you flip the tailgate up, it kind of goes over the back and has screening, so that gives you some fresh air and just gives you a little more space. Or they make those pickup truck tents that seem to work great. This seems like a great idea. Or if you have a Pontiac Aztek, you get the original accessory tent.
Hell yeah!
Right?
Not the original accessory. Several SUV manufacturers now, or rather aftermarket people, make SUV-specific tents. They make them for the Land Rover. They make them for the Suburban. And there was a picture on Bring a Trailer of a guy in a Porsche 996 who had a rooftop Safari Star trailer on his Porsche for track days.
Well, hell yeah. And if you have a Land Rover or Land Cruiser and want to look like you're more interesting than you are, then you can get a rooftop tent. They're expensive, but
Hoovie's Garage has one of them. He spent one night in it, and he was like, why did I do that? I don't like tents. I don't like tents, and I don't like heights.
Yep. So
anyway,
I like the car. The car is good. It keeps you off the ground. It's probably drier than a Walmart tent. It's cleaner. It's a separate space. I like it.
Yeah, I've done the tent thing, and I want to say I did the trailer thing, and I don't mind the trailer. I have.
You have a swanky trailer though. Like your trailer's pretty nice.
No, I have an enclosed trailer.
Yeah,
I do.
My trailer sucks.
Yes, yours is not an enclosed trailer.
You can't sleep in yours.
If you have an enclosed trailer, you can really set it up like a camper. The guy John with the ponytail, the NASA Great Lakes guy, he has a full screen room in his trailer. Like it's like a wall that like is on a hinge near the back door, and he kind of folds it down. It's got like a little screen door in it and a full screen thing. That's beautiful. If you can get air through an enclosed trailer, it's a great place to stay. I have fallen into the YouTube hole. Just go to YouTube and type in like homemade camper in a trailer, and you'll have hours and hours of entertainment.
You're spending hours and hours of watching a YouTube video when you could have just made it. You could have made the door.
Or
hours of time that you actually.
Or go to the frickin' DMV and check on the Citroen paperwork for that. Instead of all that time.
I watch YouTube at work. I can't work on a car at work.
Okay, that's fair.
Fine. Okay. How do you just have hours just to watch?
Because I have two screens.
It's graduation. He's already graduated.
I have
everybody.
two screens, and I have a lot of typing that I have to do. So I just put it off in the background, and I type away, and there's YouTube playing on the other screen.
You guys are too far removed from college. I remember guys like Jeff when I went to college, and they were vital and hardworking. Jeff deserves a break when it comes to work.
Do you owe him money or something? Like, what?
I know.
No. There was a Jeff at my college, and I loved that guy. I loved that guy.
Wow.
The Jeff that took care of me.
By the way, if you want
to
hear my thoughts on Mental waxing ecstatically about his friends, check out the Garage Heroes podcast this week, where I basically start with, I'm here to refute half the things Mental said about me on this podcast.
Which, by the way, were all good things. So if you're refuting
good
the
things.
stuff I said.
I know. I'm not saying they were bad things. Anyway.
Okay, let's keep moving.
Yes, dirt. We got to talk about dirt.
And let me get the lead on this one. And I know you're a Boy Scout, Jeff, so I'm gonna shut you down on this one. But this is the thing. So most racetracks, just because how they're done, the pavement is raised. So if you find yourself camping in the sand anywhere near the pavement, get away from the pavement, because if it rains at all, you're getting soaked, and everything you care about and everything you own is getting in several inches of water. Even if it doesn't even rain that hard, it's all going straight into your tent.
Yeah.
Camping in the woods is different than camping at a racetrack in a tent.
Yeah, remember that time? It was one of our very first Lemons races. We were there, and there's those poor idiots with the Grand Am who were next to us.
Yes.
And it was pouring rain.
Yeah.
And It was at Jersey Lightning, actually.
It was Jersey Lightning.
We are sitting in our posh RV, and the heat's on, and we're dry. We're having a few drinks. Like, life is good. And these poor fools, we had them come into the RV for a while because there was water pooling up all around their tents. Like, it was terrible.
I think we gave them one of our ramps so they could get from the sidewalk to their tent, or to their which what we do when we need to get
Trailer
a
ramp bridge.
Trailer ramp bridge.
For those of you who have never been to New Jersey is made out of sand. There's no rocks. There's no mud. It is all sand. But I want to mention that they didn't even have like the $100 Walmart pop-up tent. They had like little tiny backpacking tents, the kind where you have to be like totally horizontal and then enter, because there's no up on it. It's just like it's like a sleeping bag cover. Go to Walmart, buy the cheap tent. You can make giant tents. I'm telling you.
Yes,
yeah, but still, it's gonna be in a puddle if you're on the dirt. So pavement drains better, so that's nice. It's usually cleaner because it's not the dirt, but unless it's oily. But just put a tarp under it or something. Do that. Solves that problem. If it's pavement, though, you can't put any tent stakes or tie downs. So you got to find something to tie to, and then you're probably going to trip over it at night when you get up to go to the bathroom, because the way the tent stakes on the Rainfly, they stick out to the side, and that's not going to work. So some kind of high vis or reflective thing on that is nice. Or just put stuff in the way. Yeah, Chris.
I was going to give a quick pro tip, because I am going camping on the beach this weekend. Bring gallon bags, like Ziploc gallon bags, and fill them with sand. So you can do that because you don't need. That's what we're doing, because we can't have any. It won't fit the stakes into the sand because it's not going to work. So pro tip, go.
Cool.
Nice. Another pro tip here real quick, because we're talking about pavement. If you're putting your tent on the pavement, you got to make sure there's room for the cars to get by. There are lots of people who I see like giant places of beautiful stretching out sand, and they're kind of like loading their pop-ups and everything on the pavement where we need to drive our race cars. So make sure to leave room for the race cars.
Or death skis or pit bikes or everything that once we've been drinking, we don't care about your tent and we will drive through it.
Mm-hmm. I had this. There's another pro tip. I had this later, but I'm not sure. And then I moved this up. I'm not sure where it fits. Bring shower shoes, because once you get them dirty, you can wash them off, because that's the only way you can keep RVs clean and not track the dirt and sand and grossness everywhere.
Right.
Because if you, I ended up borrowing Jeff's because I couldn't find mine or didn't bring some. So I just wore his all weekend because you could wash them off.
Yeah, and my wife does that too. I'm like, you have 87 pairs of sandals. Why are you using mine? She's like, oh, they're going to get wet.
I just didn't. Why do you wear it? That's a great one. Okay, keep moving.
Yeah. That's it. Avoid the sand explosion and stuff like that. Especially if you're in a tent or in something small, you've got to avoid that. So,
and it's coming. Really, you're just holding it off as long as you can.
Yeah. All right. So now you need power too, and a lot of these tracks, like CMP for example, I think there's one extension cord just sitting in the middle of the paddock, and that's
just
about
5
it.
electrons.
Right.
You all have
Exactly.
to share.
Right. So you get a place like that, or out west.
And they've got to reset it 14 times.
Yeah. There's a lot more rough tracks out west with no facilities that we've been to. So you're going to need to do something for power. So at the very least, bring cordless or all hand tools. You'll get a little more of a workout. It'll take a little longer, but it'll work. And you can probably find a place to charge batteries. Either find someone with a generator or an RV will let you plug in and do that, or a 12-volt one. You can run it off the rental car. Small generators, they're cheap if they're loud. Like, see, $300 buys you one that'll wake the dead, but it'll give you power. Just don't be that guy that runs it all night, because that's not very nice. Or pony up for a good inverter generator. A 2,000-watt Yamaha is really a wonderful, wonderful thing and worth the money. You can keep them forever, and they come in handy when you wouldn't expect it. Or get the knockoff from Harbor Freight, which apparently is pretty decent. So that's another option.
I believe those are called the Predators.
Yeah, but they have an inverter one too. That's really it's a knockoff of the suitcase 2,000-watt Honda Yamaha. So
they have a 3,500-watt one too now.
Yeah.
I'd never had been around the inverter ones until we went to Pittsburgh last year at the NASA track day. I was wholly impressed. I will own one day. It'll probably be Harbor Freight. That's all I got to say.
They're super handy. I just drain the gas out and put it in the basement until I need it again, because you can carry it around. It's really easy and great. I'm thoroughly pleased with that purchase.
So I for a project I was working on, I actually bought one of those Harbor Freight. It was a $99. Basically, it was enough to run a blender.
Is that the little two-stroke one? That's
the
always has the coupe
no,
on?
it's not even. Yeah, the tailgater is what they call it.
Yeah.
It's just it
That's
actually
loud.
It was, but it wasn't like if you put it more than 6 feet away, it wasn't terrible. But at National Corvette Museum a couple of years ago, when Chris and Chrissy there, we were running Hobbs's car, and I'd showed up with one of these Stanley ones, and that thing, you say it wake the dead, and you woke the dead to complain about the noise, and we ended up running 2 extension cords to run that thing 30 feet from the RV, so that we had
in the middle
power.
of the parking lot around no one.
Yeah, it was still too loud.
Yeah. And it was more than 30 feet away, too. That thing was a long way away, I think. And it's still,
it really was. And it was awful, to the point where, like, Saturday night, Chris said, hey, it's kind of nice. Why don't we just turn off the generator and sleep with the windows open? It'll be relaxing. And it was really, I would actually like to sleep without a bus in my ear. So if you're looking at one of those generators, for God's sakes, fire it up and just think about that noise while you're trying to sleep, especially at most racetracks where it echoes off of everything.
Yeah. What?
I think we already covered, if you don't have a garage, about how to make the enclosed trailer work, but it doesn't just work for sleeping, right, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, you make it for the base for everything. Like, unless really everything but the car can be in there, unless you're working under the hood of the car or really under the car in the rain, which is you can't go in the side. So all right, you got to be straight above it or under it to be in the trailer. So try that. Easy up tents are great. Get a cheap one because they are disposable, as we've seen at so many tracks when the wind picks up, and there ends up being the pile of easy up Brent frames until Sasha decides to make one out of the bits that he's found and lying around. So, or you do that possibly too. Yeah, Jeff.
I got an easy up pro tip for you here. The 10x10 built by Easy Ups will last 3 times as long and cost you 5 times as much, just like you mentioned. But they'll all be 10x10. At Walmart for like 100, 150, you can get the 12x12. And the 12x12 is so much bigger than a 10x10.
Yeah, at least
you don't
2 feet
realize
in each direction.
No, I'm telling you.
Wow.
The difference between the amount of shade and protection is amazing. And you'd be like, oh, how much different is it?
About 44
It's really
square feet.
Exactly. Thank you. Don't need to do the math. I'm saying when you see it, you'll be like, damn, how did I ever live under a 10x10?
44 square feet less. That's how. Also, if it's raining or windy or cold, make some walls, like with some tarps and zip ties even. It makes a huge difference to keep things just a little bit nicer, and you only look a little bit like a shanty town when you do. Mental.
So,
it should be warmer.
Eons ago, when we first started down this whole voyage, we were at one of the 17 last of the Texas World races. We're at Texas World Speedway, and the property devaluation guys, as they called them at the time, the rotards, because they were all rotary guys, they did exactly that. They built a shanty town out of $8 Walmart tarps and zip ties against the fence and a propane powered jet heater that you use to do drywall. And so we're all wandering, and everybody's kind of chuckling at them because they're old school Texas rednecks. But at the end of the night, when it was unseasonably cold, everyone was gathered in their little shanty town because it was perfectly warm while everyone was standing outside freezing. And we're like, wow, these guys are silly rednecks. But, oh, my God, it worked. It totally worked. And, yeah, so everyone ended up hovering in their pits while they were working on that RX-3 that they pulled out of a dilapidated barn because it was the only warm place on the track.
Yep. There's a lot to be said for that. So, like, bad weather. It's a great call right to that. Propane heaters, because propane is safe, clean, and efficient. It's a great way to go. And you can stand around them, which is fine. If a track will let you build a fire, build a fire.
Which
there you
none
go.
of them
Don't.
now.
There's a lot of people bring the fire pit. A lot of people have had fires.
Go out west. So if you're not in a fire-prone area, you can do it sometimes. Or I remember at Nelson Ledges, because anything goes at Nelson Ledges. You can build fires there. Or stand around the grill. Yep, we're cooking. That's it. We're cooking. I swear.
Okay.
What else for bad weather?
Bad weather. If you're not going to have a place to retreat, you're going to need foul weather gear and changes of clothes. But be prepared because it gets cold at night. A lot of people are they don't realize that the desert gets cold out west. They don't realize that you're going to have to protect yourself from the sun during the day and from the cold and the rain and the wind, probably more than you think about it. If you're used to having a place where you can hide, you ain't got nothing to hide under. You're going to get wet.
Don't get the crappy rain gear that's like, oh, this looks okay. It's like the stuff that's trying to be
poncho.
Right. Or the stuff that's trying to be Patagonia but made in China by 12-year-olds and not good. Like that stuff's never going to last. You go to Tractor Supply or like West Marine and get something.
Tractor Supply
thick.
is the bomb for that stuff.
That is true.
Something that you had a full out rain gear like that green one I've got that is like nothing gets through that. It's amazing. So go big or go home.
Motorcycling gear is very effective because if it's good for 70 miles an hour on a motorcycle, it's good for you standing there. I would offer, it's a trite phrase, especially for those of us who grew up in the South, but layers. And if you just get like a really good polypropylene, a compression style pair of pants and a shirt, that does wonders for maintaining your body heat, especially if you can throw in just one cotton layer on top of it.
Not cotton.
Underneath.
No cotton in the wet, because cotton, once it gets cold, takes forever to dry and it makes you so much colder.
Well, if you've got wet weather gear, so you do polypropylene, cotton, and then your waterproof gear on top of it. And that actually does really good. But now you're right. Once the cotton gets wet, you're screwed.
That's why I just avoid it. Go right to the even with a good outerwear, get a fleece on top of that, and then a good performance underlay under that, and you're probably going to be in great shape. And even if you get a little wet, it's not a big deal. It's not like the cotton just ruins it.
Cotton in the summer heat, good. Cotton in the wet cold, bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
All around.
But and we'll talk about this here in a second. When you're trying to minimize how much crap you're bringing, layers is key.
Yep.
There you go.
Absolutely.
All right. Round the horn question. Desert Island. You're going to be all alone. Your gear is arriving separately because you already sent it in the Suburban.
Who does
right,
that?
Mental? You're going to be driving someone else's car, so you don't need to wrench.
Mental.
You got a little tiny bag. What you putting in it?
Mentally, why don't you start us off? What's going to be in your bag?
Little tiny backpack. What are you putting in it?
All right, Jeff, I'm going to steal yours. And it's been a couple of years since I've done this. But you put on there big hat. My favorite trackside accessory, and you guys all remember this. I always show up in an old straw cowboy hat.
Your hat doesn't even cover the important parts.
It does. It covers the front of my face. It covers the front of my face and the back of my neck.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's also the way to find the fastest guy at an autocross is whoever has the biggest hat is probably the
baldest guy. Because I always have the biggest hat, and it's not because I'm fast. It's because I'm bald.
Fine.
So, and then I get going back to that layers conversation because I'm flying Frontier out to New Jersey, and they charge you for carry on. So I'll be getting on that plane wearing a lot of clothes. One of the key things
You're
on there,
the kid in Christmas Story.
That's exactly what I
can't sit down.
I can't put my arms down. I can't put my arms down.
One of the things, and I read this years ago, and I don't even remember where I read it, but Hurley Haywood was talking about endurance racing, and he said the key to always being fresh is having changes of underwear. So I start from the inside out, and I'll wear the same pair of jeans all weekend on a race weekend. That doesn't matter. But I know I'm changing underwear 3 times a day, and that's because it's a hot race weekend, and then you wear different underwear under your race suit than you do when you're walking around the paddock. So underwear, if you're minimized on space, focus on making sure you've got clean underwear and clean socks.
Nice. Chrissy.
Yep.
I was going with clothes before we had this long clothes informational session. I like to have multiple options. I really like to have options, especially as Mental said, you were changing your clothes a bunch of times in the suit, after the suit, before you shower, after the shower, that kind of stuff. But the other thing that I did not list was snacks. I'm going to bring snacks because I usually have a hard time finding things to eat. So I will make sure that I have some kind of Kind bars or something that I know that I can eat, because you never know when you're going somewhere where the first place you're going to be able to stop. And if you can hold yourself over with a snack, then that's a great idea.
Or if you're in someone else's paddock, it's not yours, and they don't know about your dietary restrictions, you got to make sure you have something to eat. So vegan boy here usually brings a lot of tofu and stuff with him, but he can also just cheat for a weekend.
Almond butter.
Delicious eggs in a can.
Eggs in a powder, yes.
Yes.
All right.
Sad. Well, don't forget Chrissy with her sadness.
I know.
Bread.
That's why I say I bring my own, because I try not to.
And I eat Chrissy's sadness bread, and it's great.
Sure. Yay.
Chris, you or me?
I'll go. I'm going to bring some work gloves, because even if you just have them, that shows whoever's car you're driving that you at least care and you want to help, right? So even if you're just going to rotate some tires, you're helping, you're there to work a little bit, and that's always appreciated by the car owner. Some paper towels, because paper towels are useful for everything in life practically. You can check the fluids on it. You can dry yourself off. You can make a pillow if you don't have one. It's a useful thing to have, is a roll of paper towels. Clean the glass. Bring some beer money and provide drinks to those who are doing the work, or use it to trade for goods and or services like food or a place to sleep or things like that. It's amazing what can be traded for with beer.
I'll do that valve job for you if you let me sleep in your RV tonight.
Yep. Exactly. Hence the work gloves, too.
We'll fix your clutch if you give us tires.
That's right.
And lastly, bring a great can-do attitude.
Chris is thumbs upping the Skype camera, so the big cheesy grin. You all said it all. Big hat.
That's legit though. That just
sunscreen,
got to define the
snacks,
attitude.
Lots of clothes, attitude. Bring gloves. I'm going to tell 2 things that you missed. Purple drink. Everybody needs a purple drink. Ew.
No one needs purple drink.
I love purple drink.
Of all the work Chris spent doing on Snowflake the Suburban, 20 minutes of it was scrubbing purple drink poop off of it.
It's what's in my bag. In my bag is going to be purple drink. But I'm going to give you another story. Even if you swear you're not going to wrench on somebody's clothes, don't show up without work clothes. Because
Bring
I did
2 pairs of pants.
I did this at Laguna Seca. I said, well, I'm not going to work on stuff, so I only need 2 pairs of pants. And the very first thing, gear oil all over me. And it was disgusting, and I had to go to Target and buy more clothes. That's it.
And you smelled so bad.
It's terrible.
Now, if you're traveling light, though, do not underestimate the value of swinging by a thrift store, a Goodwill or an LB Thrift or one of those kind of places. And, I've done that for a lot of costuming and a lot of work weekends. Oh, yeah. This is something I never want to see again. I will happily pay $4 for it, this entire outfit at Goodwill, destroy it at a work weekend, and deposit it right into the trash can.
Yeah. Awesome.
That works.
I'm going to put in one last plug here. I think we've covered it all, right? Just looking around the horn. Anybody got anything else to say?
No, that's good.
I have had a wonderful venture into the world of rentable RVs. RVshare.com. You can get a decent sized trailer for $100 a night, or step up for $250 for an RV, $450 for a baller diesel pusher. You really can get. If you're flying and driving and you really want to go for a big setup, they'll deliver it for you. They'll drop it off at the track and pick it up on Sunday night. So think about, hey, forget this light crap. Let's go heavy. RVshare.com. They should sponsor us.
Hey, well, let's see how it works out at Jersey.
It's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe it's that time of the show. Just
I'm not sure if I should be as excited about Just a Tip as everyone else is, because I'm giving you Just a Tip this week, and I don't really know exactly what I'm doing because everyone said, hey, give us a tip about insurance. Check that on your bingo card, by the way. So we could have multiple shows about insurance, but no one would actually listen. Right, exactly. So I'm going to give it a couple quick little insurance tips.
With all the tornadoes and hailstorms that are happening in the east side of the Mississippi, a lot of people are probably feeling real down right now.
Jammed up exhaust pipes into the belly of your RV.
Yeah, well, that should work out all right. That's pretty clear. So first I'll say your car is not covered on track. Get yourself an HPDE policy. Just
it's so easy.
Stop even trying to think about it. It's probably not going to happen.
Haggerty, hashtag they should take sponsors.
Totally. They were great. Secondly, it's boring, but actually read your policy because it says in there what it actually covers and what it doesn't cover. Sometimes pretty clearly, sometimes not so clearly. Spend a few minutes actually trying. Just run through it, run the gist of it. You'll see. Some of it might surprise you, but that's the easiest way to know. Another thing, groundwater not covered in a homeowner's policy. If it comes in from the ground, it's flood and need a flood policy. Groundwater not covered.
Interesting.
Yep. Or unless it's sump backup, that's a separate policy, like pump backup, pump failure. That's an endorsement usually. But people say, oh, yeah, all this water leaked in from the ground. That's a flood. That's not a homeowner. So if you have a hole in your roof and a lot of water comes through that, okay, that's different. If your ice maker host, your fridge breaks while you're gone for a weekend and leaks everywhere over your whole first floor, that's covered. That's something random. Yeah, mental.
And this is actually an interesting thing about the flood insurance, because people think, oh, well, I don't live in a flood-prone area. But if you get a lot of rain, water can run through your house. Now, up in the Northeast, a lot of you guys have basements basements, but a lot of us in the South have slab housing, and it doesn't have to rain that hard, and just a few inches of water comes running through your house, and it's going to ruin a lot of stuff. So talk to your insurance agent about a genuine, either a flood policy or flood rider on your homeowner's policy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Next thing, it's all about documentation. They're a documentation business. They love paperwork. If you want to take a position that might not be exactly what they want to start off, that's okay, but support it. Get some documentation. Why do you think your car is worth this much? Oh, it's because I found all of these for sale and these are the prices they're going for. Here's the documentation for it. Things like that. Oh, you never recaulked the roof on your RV? Yeah, I did. Here's a picture of me doing it, and here's the service checkouts from the place that did them, saying I'm totally fine. Documentation is the key. And lastly, some carriers really do claim so much better than others. If you're only shopping on price, you might get totally screwed when it comes down to actually filing a claim. So if you're going to ask for recommendations from people, like, hey, I want a new insurance company, ask them if they've actually had a claim and how it worked out, because that's when you need it, and that's when it counts for how it's going to work. And I've seen some really, really tragic experiences from major carriers, and that's a shame. So,
and if you got your same insurance and the same cut rate place, you got your auto insurance, you can be paying for this yourself.
Yeah, and with that particular carrier, you often are. They are my least favorite carrier in the entire world from having done this for 12 years. Seriously.
And you mentioned documentation. I recently, we talked about it last week. I had a claim. The guy came out yesterday to do the claim on that, and they really like it when you do the documentation of this happened, and I snapped 30 photos with my cell phone, and there's really no excuse not to do it. Back in the day, they used to tell you to carry a disposable camera in your glove compartment in case you got into an accident. Now you can do it all on your phone, and that really streamlined the process because they knew exactly what they were looking at when they came out of this. These are all the things that are damaged on my RV. And the guy even came out and said, oh, well, if that happened and that happened, something you may not have looked at. And he started dicking around kind of under my RV. He goes, oh, you didn't check this, and you didn't check this, and you didn't check this. Because that's his area of expertise. But because I had done the documentation beforehand, they already knew where to start digging a little bit deeper.
Yep. It's all about documentation. If we can support something, we can pay it. That's what it comes down to. So that's all I got.
Cool.
Exciting insurance. Just a tip.
Insurance!
So next week, we may be talking about race prep for NJMP. We may not have a show because sometimes the week is getting busy. Depends on how well all of our cars are running and how packed we are. Maybe we'll have it early, maybe we won't, and maybe we'll have a live show when we're there. So stay tuned. Sorry if you don't hear from us next week, but hopefully you will. And if not, hopefully we'll see you at NJMP.
Totes.
Oh, can't hear you, Jeff. Can't hear you, Jeff.
Sorry.
Jeff,
turned off my I turned off my mic so I could cue the Vegas music again. And I want to say that we really should try and have a show, even if we do it nice and early, because everybody loves us. And we love you. Thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers Vegas Style. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Even if you hate us, give us 5 stars and tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop a comment on our Facebook page, Instagram, or Twitter. You can find us everywhere. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the bright and neon side up.
Leopard
and
print.
keep the wheels down.
Side.